Welcome to Let's Get Creative with Sam, the podcast. I'm Sam Rawlings and I'm a children's creative counsellor. That means I help kids unlock their imaginations and explore the amazing world of creativity. But being creative can also be a great way to take care of our minds and feelings, which is super important. In this podcast, we'll be doing all sorts of fun things. We'll be sharing creative tips and tricks that can help us feel good, interviewing other awesome creative folks in the industry who use creativity for mental well-being, and maybe even doing some creative challenges together that can help us express ourselves. So buckle up, get ready to unleash your creativity and explore how it can help us feel our best, and let's have some fun.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Creativity with Sam. I'm Sam and I'm a children's creative counsellor. I support children from 6 to 19 and also the families, and this is my podcast. And I am so excited today to be able to introduce my next guest, who has kind of reminded me the importance of things that we probably did as children, and now as adults we don't always have time, or do we? Let's meet our next guest, Kallia Papadopoulos.
Welcome, Sam. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Yes, very well. I'm very excited to be here with you today.
I'm so excited for you to be here. Can I just ask, whereabouts are you today, Kallia?
I am in Essex today, where I live. Yes, quite a long way away from you today, Sam.
Absolutely, being in Leeds, West Yorkshire. And you don't look like you're in a room.
No, I'm in the car today because the day job dictates it. So this morning I had a shift, and the day job is I am a carer for older people that have conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia, and I work around that.
Okay, so you've introduced yourself already. Is there anything else you want to share about yourself, Kallia?
Yes, if I can share about what I do and why I'm with you today.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, so I am the proud founder of the Reading Empowerment Hub, and my mission is to instill a love of reading in adults and children because it positively benefits them and their mental health and well-being. I've added a few more strings to my bow that instills the values that I have, and that is language development for children from 0 to 11, because I believe when they become confident speakers, they will become confident readers. Yeah. And being able to communicate effectively is the best skill we can possibly give them.
I love that. And everything you said there really kind of resonates with me. Working with children myself, being a mum and a grandma, and the importance of reading from a really young age.
Absolutely. And what I wanted to add is I've always loved language and communication, everything that embodies that. I was a teaching assistant where I ran reading intervention groups, and I could see how the children that came to me did not enjoy reading, and I got to the bottom of it. It's because they had to read it. They wanted to read for enjoyment. And that's the key, Sam. Mm-hmm. When you read for enjoyment, it adds a lot more pleasure than saying, yes, you must read that, because people don't want to be told. But if they're enjoying it, that makes it even better for them. And it makes them feel good about themselves. Hence, where it positively impacts their mental health. But I've been doing a lot of talking with parents, and I would love to empower parents. I don't want them to see me as someone as condescending and saying you must do this and you must do that, because they're the parents at the end of the day. I want to give them autonomy. I want them to feel that they can do it. You never know. Some parents may have a negative experience themselves at school with reading. Maybe they're not confident because they don't understand. Who knows? There's a plethora of reasons. But I think if we help parents, empower them from babyhood, where I encourage all parents, Sam, and grandparents as well. I put grandparents, carers, all into that, Every day is a rich learning vocabulary experience. And when I spoke to parents, they said they really liked our chats because they didn't fully realise how rich in vocabulary we are in our everyday lives.
Mm-hmm.
From the morning routine, Sam, brushing your teeth,
Yeah.
breakfast, walking to school, going to the park, what can you see, what can you hear? You can start that from when they're babies.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I know some parents said, we're tempted to Google the baby talk. And I said, I understand that. But even when they're babies, you'll say, good morning, my darling, how are you today? Do you see? And then they'll get used to hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get down to the scientific part. It creates neural pathways in their brain, which are complex. So when they become confident speakers in adulthood, they may come across a situation when they're older and they're going to have to be able to communicate effectively.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I'm so passionate about language development, which will then lead them to becoming a confident reader. And I spoke about this at a summit.
Okay.
When you're confident as a speaker, you can go about your daily life, more or less being able to think, yeah, I can handle this today.
Yeah.
When you're in the workplace, there may be a situation, a conflict. You just don't know. These things happen, don't they, in our lives?
Mm-hmm.
But I would like people to be able to communicate effectively and stand their ground, being assertive without having the need to raise voices and use less colourful language that is not appropriate. So that's why if we start from when they're young, then we're giving them a very good chance in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. There's a lot there that that I can tell your passion really comes across when you're sharing, like how you feel that families kind of sometimes don't see reading as important. I mean, I've got 4 grandchildren, but my oldest are 2 grandsons, and they went through a stage really where they didn't want to read. They were more interested in maths. Maths is their thing, they're really good at it. And so because they're good at it, and I guess in some way it kind of relates to school, doesn't it? If you feel you're good at something, you're doing well, you're excelling in that lesson, that subject, then you're going to want to do more of it. Whereas for them, English reading, they found a little bit harder, for loads of different reasons. So they didn't like reading books either, whereas my daughter, she loves reading. She's read since she was a child and she still continues as an adult, as a mum. Whereas my grandchildren didn't. I mean, they are getting more into it now, but sometimes they don't always use books. That's their choice, a Kindle, a phone, a laptop, whichever.
Do you know what? We have ebooks now, okay? And if that's what works, it works.
Totally agree, yeah.
But this is my opinion, Sam, and to your listeners, when it comes to picture books and young children, I find it's incredibly important not to have an ebook.
Yeah.
When it comes to the board books like The Very Hungry Caterpillar, Let's Go on a Bear Hunt. Yeah. I don't promote ebooks for very young children. When it comes to story time, it has to be a board book or a paper or a very colourful book, because when they're younger, that is the colours are helping. It's all that immersing themselves. As they get older, yes, but when it comes to picture books, for example, with Christmas coming up, it's got for me. That's just my own personal opinion on that matter.
Yeah, definitely so. And my past like career before I went into counselling was in nurseries, so under 5s, and I used to love story time, and also them one-to-ones or them really small groups as well, because like you're saying, having them books in front of us, and there's so much learning as well as that fun and enjoyment. There's so much learning going on as well, isn't there?
Well, yes, there is, my dear. Let's take The Very Hungry Caterpillar. The learning from that, not just the book, that just touches the surface.
Yeah.
But if you were to do what I would call a language enrichment activity with lots of vocab, you could get all the fruit out, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You could say to the children, which fruit is yellow? Very young children. Which is red? Very basic language there. And as they get older, to say, if we go with that book to about 4 years old, right, which is about average, you could then say, make up stories, other stories. the list is endless. Once I get going, Sam, I can't stop myself. I get very excited myself when I start like looking at creating plans for not a lesson plan. Let's call it a session plan, because I don't want it. I want it to be semi-structured, because I'm going to want to start doing these activities with children myself. I want the parents to be there. I want to involve them as well.
Yeah.
So just give them a guideline, so when they get home, they can do it themselves and they'll enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Or going on a bear hunt, making all the sounds.
Story.
Oh gosh, or the gruffalo. I did that with my nephews. I did that with my nephews who are now in their 20s. They won't admit it, but I know they liked it. So can you see where I'm going with this? With the colour learning, with fruit learning, it's endless, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of the things that they're doing is they're using their imagination. So like you're saying, using the colours and things, but you could extend it further. Let's just take the bear hunt. The amount of times that I've took that outside and we've gone on a walk and we've gone and found resources and we've acted and things like that. It's almost like that really early stages of acting. And storytelling is so huge and so powerful, isn't it? In more than just having a book.
Or let's think about Paddington Bear.
Oh yeah.
Right. That learning is amazing, because he was found at Paddington Station, hence why it's called Paddington Bear.
Yeah.
You could talk about a train journey. So that's an activity you can do. That's kind of cooking. It's preparing them in the kitchen. And think of all the words that we use when we're preparing food. Cut, slice, mash, spread, butter, fridge. Let's go to the supermarket, Sam. And then all of that, because I remember speaking to you about this last week. Supermarket shopping is a very rich vocabulary experience.
Yeah, definitely.
You walk into your local supermarket, and like I do with my language head on, and I'm thinking, oh, could you imagine how much they could learn from this?
Yeah.
I even did it with my partner Darren yesterday. I said, look at our cupboards after we went for the weekly shop. Or we could have a shop in here. We could get the till out. And he said, oh my God, there you go.
I love that though. I love that, because it's almost like you're like using what you do at home, your own home life experiences, to be able to plan ahead of what you want to do with like the families. And I think that's amazing, because it kind of takes some pressures off when you're doing it. You know what I mean? Those ideas come up and then you're like, I can put this into place and develop it that way.
What else I'd like to share with you and your followers is that when I was a teaching assistant, the very first job I had was to run a phonics group.
Okay.
And which got me into thinking about the language development, because they know about sounds, don't they? The very basic sounds.
For everybody who's listening and watching, can you share a little bit about what phonics are, Kalia?
Yeah. So it's about the sounds and how they help children formulate words in a very basic way. So they're learning the sounds very basic at the start, guys, and then go into more complex sounds, which are like the double sounds, like the O sound from scone, if that makes sense. So you've got the word scone, I'm using as an example, which is the O sound is the O and the E. So then as they move up the levels, they move into more complex sounds. And there are about 44 sounds, I think. If I'm wrong, guys, do correct me, but I believe there's 44 sounds. I remember doing that with my nephews and then teaching a group led by the teacher, but each teaching assistant had their own group. And I remember doing a bingo for them and they loved it. So I said, I prepared all the bingo cards. I said, right, I want you to put a circle around that picture that has a S sound.
Yeah.
The sound's got to be very quick. And they loved it. So even with children like that, that are doing their phonics, you can have an activity at home and say, walk around the kitchen and let's have a look what starts with a S.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I want to add as well, Sam, and I know you'll be okay. It's a kind of a controversial subject.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that don't like the idea of phonics.
Yeah.
Because they don't think it benefits and it puts a lot of pressure on the children that don't learn that way. So I'm just here to say what I believe. I'm not imposing my opinion upon anybody. This is just a disclaimer. It's what I believe and what I've seen work. I have also worked with children with additional needs. And because people said to me, what about children with additional needs, the phonics? I said, this is why schools are struggling, my opinion, because there's so many different needs. How are they going to cater for every single child?
Yeah.
Which I was thinking about my mission today, and my values for the Reading Empowerment Hub. And I am all for accessibility, having worked with children with additional needs. And that is why I think, as I said, they're struggling in schools, because teacher has 30 kids. And that's why I'm passionate about doing groups. And yeah, I look at the holistic approach as well, Sam, the whole child.
Yeah, definitely. It's so important.
Yeah. So we've got phonics, which is one program, right?
Yeah.
It may not help every single child, hence the holistic. That's why you've got to identify what helps and then adapt it. So yes, I'm an advocate for phonics, but if it doesn't help your son, for example, then we'll find something else.
Yeah.
But I am an advocate for it. And it all came about when I read an article from BBC Wales that an 11-year-old girl left junior school with a reading age of 4. And she wasn't happy about going to secondary school, Sam. She was devastated that she could not access what 11-year-olds access. She could only read around reception age.
And how did you feel about that, Kallia?
I was very upset for her. Because that's to have that on your shoulders at the age of 11, Sam, it's very, very heavy. To not be able to access and to have left school falling through the cracks. I'm going to say it how it is.
Yeah.
Now, what is the issue here? As we said, 30 children, 1 teacher. How many different needs do we have? What can we do?
So many.
Teaching assistants are being taken away from the classroom because they are the ones that could do that. I was the one that did the phonics group, the reading intervention group. So that's where my passion lies, So, I'd like to have a group of, say, 6 children and think, right, well, they're all different. Let's adapt a plan. But that's just 6 children. And there's only one of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many children do we have in the United Kingdom?
Oh, I'm not sure. A lot.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it just so people, the listeners out there, can see the enormity. And this lady said to me yesterday, Sam, oh, schools need someone like you. A school needs you. Every school needs you. And I said, yeah, I can't claim myself, sadly. But then she said to me to go back into schools. And I said, that's not for me anymore. That's not something I'd like to do, but I'd like to do it outside of the classroom. Because when it's outside of the classroom, it's not as stressful on the child because they see it as, oh, I'm not in school. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I totally can resonate with that as well. Being a children's counsellor, often families, when they come to me, when they're asking for that support, is because particularly young people, so like we're saying, secondary school, they're not wanting to be seen in school going to see a counsellor. So they look for external, somebody who's nothing to do with the family, nothing to do with anybody they know, their friends, where they live as such. And that's kind of what happens. So that makes sense that, families will come to you because you're nothing to do with the school. So going back a little bit, Kallia, what was your experience like as a teaching assistant?
Mine is a very personal one, and I will share. It wasn't a happy one from my personal experiences due to harassment. So it was very, very challenging.
Yes.
And one that left a deep scar for a very long time. But what it didn't take away was the passion. Thank you. To the hard work that I put in on myself. So it was very challenging for me being in that environment. And that's why I wouldn't go back, Sam, because of how it made me feel. But it hasn't deterred the passion that I have for helping children. So I love the idea of being able to work with children and their parents, but outside of that institution. And I call it an institution because it is, isn't it? Education is in that respect.
Yeah.
Something that I'd like to work maybe in libraries. Libraries are a great way to host that nurturing, kind environment. I think sometimes schools, but this is my own personal experience, are very harsh. And as a reader, I'm a fluent reader. I'm a bookworm. But when I was going through that, I had kind of lost the words.
Okay.
But that's just life, and life teaches you things.
Yeah.
And it's taught me not to give up on my passion. Why this is hence why we've connected and why I'm on your podcast today.
Yeah.
And I used to struggle to get my words out because of the challenges that I faced each day. But I decided I wanted to share my message to reach as many people as I possibly could. And I was determined to get my words out because sometimes I struggle and not anymore. So I just take my time and I just speak. And I just want people to know that there is help out there, that I'm not that person that will make you feel bad as a parent. And you may say, oh, but you're just saying that. Yeah, and I understand that. But I just want people to feel that they have the power, that I'm not taking that away from them. I just want them to realise that, you know, when you do read, when you do connect with words, that they can give you a great life.
Absolutely. And what a powerful statement as well for you, as well as, you know, like everybody that you're wanting to support as well. I just love that so much. So do you have, like, you know, you said you're a fluent reader and things. Do you have like a certain author you enjoy reading, or a certain book, kind of style of book you enjoy?
I have to say, my favourite reader is called Victoria Hislop, and she writes books that are set in Greece.
Okay.
And because of my heritage, my family are from Cyprus and Greece, obviously very closely connected.
Yeah.
When I read it, it feels like I'm back there. And so I love her. I love historical romance.
Yeah.
I like books that are based on fact, but also fiction, in like on the Second World War. I like a bit of romance. I like a thriller, especially a London thriller, like a gritty Victorian London thriller. Yeah. And I also, because it's that time of year, I love a Christmas romance.
Nice.
I've got quite a few books waiting for me at home.
Already. A pile of them ready. So what, if we think about kind of the times for reading, because I know reading can be done at any time, but when I'm using the word time as well, let's just take the word out of time, because that can just totally, it can throw your cat completely. I haven't got enough time. I haven't got enough time to read with my child. I haven't got enough time to read for myself. How do you fit it into your day, Kallia?
Well, because it's always been a priority, I make time. So in the morning, if I've got an option of 5 minutes on the phone or 5 minutes with a book, the book always wins. During a break, now I'm always out and about in the car, so I don't want to take my books because I'm always forgetting them. So that's why, although I'm massively a physical book reader, I do have a few ebooks on the phone, just because I don't want to be scrolling on it all day.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So when it comes to children, I don't think the morning is a good time for children to read, unless you have that routine really firmly in place. Because I think mornings can be a bit of a rush for children. But if you can tell me otherwise, that's fine. I'm just saying from experience. A great time for children for reading is when they get home, before tea or after tea. 5 minutes is all it takes, guys, seriously. And if you can get it to 10, that's perfect. What's 10 minutes? It really isn't a lot. While the dinner's cooking in the oven, you've got 10 minutes with your child.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of that time when they would be doing homework. And also,
when they're that is homework, right?
Yeah, of course. Because when they're younger, when they're learning to read, they bring their reading book home, don't they? You know, and I've spent many years doing that. I say when my daughters were young, and then my grandchildren, my grandsons, and now I'm really excited because my granddaughter started school in September. So the next time I see her, I'm sure she'll have a little book that she'll be able to, I'll be able to read with her. And it's such a beautiful time, isn't it? To be able to share, you know, a child learning to read. It's just.
And you know what it is?
So wonderful.
It doesn't have to be a lesson.
No.
This is what I want parents. It doesn't have to be that lesson. Like, what are they saying? What it doesn't have to be forceful. It can be really a beautiful experience. If they're reading, I'm always going back to Very Hungry Caterpillar. Maybe that one's imprinted in my head. Building up comprehension skills. You know, how does the caterpillar feel? You know, why do you think he's very hungry? questions like that.
Yeah.
And then you build as they get older. It's just like, obviously reading is about decoding words and comprehending what you're reading, because you can read a book and not understand what's going on, but it's about building those skills.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
getting them to look beyond. We call it inference, which is reading between the lines. So in a book, it might say the cat is crying. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't say the cat is sad, but we know the cat is sad because the cat is crying. Why would he be crying?
Yeah. So it
things like that, Sam, or I was sweating because it was really hot. So you can ask questions about that, about how do we know it's hot, and going on from that as well, just looking for the clues in the story. And when I did my reading intervention group, and I'll always remember this, such a happy moment for me. The book that the boy chose was about a polar bear. But before we even got reading, I put a globe in front of him.
Yeah.
And he said to me, Miss, why on earth have you got that thing there? I said, that's a globe. He said, yeah, I know what it is. I said, but why have you got that there? I said, what are we going to be reading about? Polar bears. Well, I want you to tell me which country has polar bears. I want you to find the country. In fact, I want to do it with you. Let's look for the countries that has polar bears. And even after, a couple of years after that, when he was coming up through the school, he always remembered that I got him the globe to find the country that had polar bears.
And that will have helped him connect to the story, because we all learn differently, don't we? So we've got visual learners, learners who listen, learners who are kinesthetic, like you say, that holistic kind of side of it. So for that child, he was, visual helped him. So what would you say for a child who was resistant in reading? They were like, no, not doing it at all. No, I can't do it, which often comes out. What are your thoughts on that, Kalia?
Yeah, I think with that, if they're really resistant, by pushing them, it's not going to happen. So what I would suggest is going on your walks, going to the supermarket, going everywhere you're going with your child and talking. Start with the talking, and talking about even a bar of chocolate, guys. Oh, look at that shiny wrapper. Oh, I wonder how that tastes if it got... Oh, look at that. That's different flavour. It's orange. I wonder how that tastes. Immerse them in all these activities, which include reach speaking. They won't realise what you're doing. It can be a bit crafty, but hey-ho, they're learning. You could be in the garden, Sam, with your grandchildren. Say you're gardening. You could say, oh, come and help me. Let's pull up the flowers. Start like that.
Yeah.
And then once they enjoy that, you can find a book connected to the activity they like. So if they're enjoying an activity with you, like gardening, you can find a book on flowers. And you could leave it around the house. And then you'll say to them, do you know what? Nanny wants a bit of a rest. Put your feet up and say, I think I'm going to read this book on flowers today. Do you want to have a look with me?
Yeah. So loads of different ways to engage a child in reading without actually having a physical book in front of them.
Also, another thing I'd like to add, guys, I'm really passionate about libraries.
Yes.
And, you could say, oh, Nanny's going to the library today. I'd really like it if you could come and help me choose a book.
Yeah, definitely. And I think libraries have... I mean, when I was a child, teen, I loved going to the library. That was almost like part for me of kind of, getting out of the house, doing something for me, having that real kind of time and space as well. And over the years, I know that libraries have changed a lot. They went to a stage where hardly anybody was, especially when we got all this more tech stuff coming through as well and everything. And now they're hubs now. So libraries are more supportive for families, because take, for instance, the local one to me, you can go in for a book, but then there's an area where children can play, and, and then there's computers there as well. So then people can learn as well. And then there's services that they provide as well. So libraries have changed. So they almost like including all these services, which encourages families to go. They also do like loads of different story times and, creative times and things like that. And I think in some way that's so much better.
100%, Sam. It is. The libraries are really, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
They've really injected a lot of time into them. Also, obviously, there's a few closures and I hope they don't happen, but, but libraries are very important. And also, when you were talking about how to engage children that are disengaged, some children enjoy baking. What about if you incorporated maths into it? So let's have a look how many grams of flour we need.
Mm-hmm.
Get the scales out. Right. Oh, I've put a bit too much in. How much shall I take out? There's maths there. But it also includes reading, because you may say, oh, have a look at the recipe and tell me what I need. Or why don't we write a list and go shopping?
Yeah.
Include other activities, because I'm a great believer in that as well. Including maths with the weighing, with taking away. But also, apart from cooking, craft activities are a great way to get kids in with reading as well. And Christmas coming up, and if you believe in Halloween, or if you're celebrating Diwali, which is an Asian festival, think about reading books, but also creating crafts like candles and baubles and fireworks as well, fireworks, all those things. You could do lots of that craft, and I'm a great believer in craft activities in conjunction with reading.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to add as well, if you find that your children are really enjoying this, and I'm a great one for extending. So if a child shows, yes, I want more, because some do, you can get them to write if they're really into writing. You could even get them to create a collage or a book full of ideas, a memory book. I was always good at looking at kids and thinking, if they needed extending, I could extend that activity, like different levels.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's endless. It really genuinely is.
Absolutely. So it is. And I guess when you're a child and you're like learning to read, let's go to the learning bit to read, but learning to read, you're not aware of all the extra things. So it's about us as adults being able to kind of, enhance their learning, improve their reading skills by everything else. Because as I say, we're all different. We all learn different ways, don't we? And just what comes to mind is that real creativity, that real creative side of the brain, to be able to use that, which reading comes on, reading's the other side to that, because that's obviously maths and, and art and that side of it. So it's balancing as well, isn't it? By having both sides of the brains to be able to learn, have fun and play.
We're all great at different things, Sam, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Someone could be great at gardening. Someone could be great at mental maths. Someone could be great at physics and chemistry, all these different topics.
Yeah.
And I believe we as an educator as well, to lean into these talents that our children may have. You don't know what you're good at when you're a young child. You're learning. You're going about the world.
Yeah.
And I think if we are able to lean into their talents, I think magic can happen.
Yeah.
For me, this is a very personal story, but I can share it. It may trigger someone. I don't think my talents were leaned into as a child.
Okay.
And Mum was working all hours, and she just wanted to feed us, And looking back, I thought, yeah, I can understand why I struggled a lot, because I felt my talents weren't nurtured. Some people go dance classes, don't they? Some people go boxing, football, all sports, and all of these after extracurricular activities, which I absolutely love. And they're so important for us, even as adults. But I think that's why, looking back, why I've struggled and why I'm also passionate.
Yeah.
Does that make sense as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely so. I mean, I never got the opportunity to dance as a child. Well, now I'm in an Amdram society now as a 54-year-old, and I absolutely love it,
And I really am pleased that you do that. When you told me that, I couldn't stop thinking about it, because I am a performer myself, and if I could be in one, I would. and I would be on stage and I'd be dancing around. My actually partner says I deserve an Oscar for my dramatic performances at home. I don't know what to say about that. No, but I do love to draw. I love it. It's what my talent, one of my talents, I'd say, apart from reading, is to be about performing.
And it's never too late, as I've just said. It's never too late, you know. So
my name might be up in lights one day.
I'm watching. I'm waiting.
We could be on the red carpet together, Sam.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see it now. And that's because we learned to read as children, that we've got this really powerful imagination, which helps us in our lives, in our personal lives, in our business, you know, with our families and things like that, because we've got that imagination. So we can, I mean, I know this is different, but we can manifest things. We can imagine our dreams and our desires because we learned to read and continue to read as children. So one thing before we kind of finish, so and this is for the other people might have felt this as well. So when I trained as a counsellor, I was reading, learning, reading, you know, because of my assignments and everything that I had to do. And since then, I found it really difficult to pick up a book and read it. So I got rid of loads of books that I thought, oh, maybe I've got bored of them and let's try something new. But I seem to have changed my habits, and reading doesn't seem to be a priority. But I want to read. I'll buy the books and I want to read, but then it doesn't happen.
So you're putting a lot of pressure. People put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Okay.
And that is why you want to, but you're putting that you have to. It's about changing the language.
Yes, that makes sense.
It's about reframing that. You don't have to, but you would like to.
Definitely.
Change it around, guys. You know, someone says to me, but Kalia, I want to, but I can't. Change it, saying I will, and 5 minutes a day. That is all you need. Trust me, darling, because 5 minutes a day is 35 minutes a week. Okay?
Yeah.
Which then leads to quite a few hours, actually.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to, I can share tips on how to get yourself into reading, if that's what you would like me to do today.
Yeah, well, we are coming to near the end. It's okay, and it's been so wonderful to talk to you this morning, Kalia. But before we finish, a few things. So first of all, your 3 tips, please.
Yep. Sam, you said you can do this, but I haven't got them, and I had them at home. Could you hold on a minute? Because you can't cut this out, can't you, darling?
Oh, just any 3 tips, yeah. Any 3 tips.
No. Oh, God, what's the matter with me? Hold on a minute, Sam. Can you hold on?
Yeah.
I emailed them to you, didn't I?
You did.
Oh, thankfully. Let me just quickly have a look. Sorry, Sam, my brain.
It's okay. No worries.
Forgive me.
Honestly, it is fine.
Thank you. Thank you for being so understanding, Sam.
Oh, no. I'm just going to find the email, but have you found the email?
Oh, where is she? Where are you, Sam? Where are you, Sam? Oh, Lord. Okay. That's fine. That wasn't there. Oh, gosh. Okay.
You found it?
No, I haven't. Oh,
okay.
Gosh.
Well, I can find it then.
Okay,
and I'll send you it on Messenger.
Okay, it's going to be okay. Right.
Oh, I've just turned the printer on. Really? Probably we're meant to start. I've just turned the printer on. Here we go. Tips for parents. Right, I found them.
Thank you, Sam. What are they?
Spend 10 minutes a day reading with your children. Visit a library with your children. And when reading, put away your devices.
Right, thank you, Sam. Let's go.
Right, okay. Right, go.
So my 3 tips.
Yes.
Is when you're reading with your child, please put away those devices. You don't need to look at your phone. You can look at it later. Simple as that. When I'm focused on my reading, for me...
Bear with me a minute. Let's just hold again. Bloody printers on. Really? Really? Oh, bloody thing. Right, it's off. Okay, We do your 3 tips again.
Yeah. So my 3 tips are: put away the devices when reading. They can wait.
Yes.
Visit the library. It's the best experience for your children when it comes to books, because you say we're going to choose a book together, one for you, one for me, and one for us together.
Yeah.
And the other one is, what was that other one? So it was visit the library, put away your device. Oh yes, and spend 10 minutes a day reading with your children, please. You'll give them the best gift, because 10 minutes, as I said, is when you put your dinner in the oven, when it can happen. I don't like to dictate to people, and when they say I haven't got time, and I have been told that, I don't like to push it, because I know 10 minutes is not that much time. So that's where I am with that one.
Thank you so much. They're amazing. And where can people find you, Kalia?
Right. On my website, which is www.readempower.co.uk. And also I can be found on my main social media platform, which is a Facebook business page, the Reading Empowerment Hub. And all those links are on my website. So you can click on them and be directly taken to my social media platform.
Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today, Kalia. It's been a real kind of rich conversation. I feel that it's really kind of relit that fire in me again to be able to read, and hopefully everybody who's watching as well feels similar. We'll add all the tips and your links to the notes, Kalia, so when people want to find you, they know where you are. And thank you everybody for watching and listening today, and I will see you all again soon for another episode. See you all for now. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.